On this episode of Scott's Kitchen, we're going to make chicken enchiladas. They're going to be delicious. Hello and welcome to Scott's Kitchen. Today we're going to make something really cool. It's very easy, chicken enchiladas, and lots of different ways that you can make these. This recipe is one of those that it looks like it's homemade and you spent a lot of time on it, but actually it's really easy and you could do it like a weeknight because it doesn't take a lot of time, and you can make it really quickly and get it in the oven, and it looks like you spent a lot of time on a homemade meal. It's actually pretty fast. So the first thing we need to do is concentrate on the chicken if you're going to make chicken enchiladas. It's very easy to use any kind of chicken that you want, any kind of leftover chicken. A lot of times if we have some, fried chicken or pieces of chicken, baked or something, you can just chop those up. You can also use the Costco rotisserie chicken and also the rotisserie chicken that's packaged, that's chopped up and packaged. That's perfect, although it's way too much for this recipe. It's like twice as much. You can use the canned chunk cooked chicken is really good. You see me use some of the beef and the pulled pork in the can sometimes. Chicken comes the same way. You can use that. I don't have any of those, so today what we're going to do is we're going to start off with Kirkland's Finest. This comes in a big pack of, I think, 12. These are chicken thighs, boneless and skinless. So this is pretty easy. We're just going to chop this up and cook it in the skillet, and then we'll get started with everything else after that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just get some heat going on this pan, just kind of on low. And then this is sort of frozen, sort of thawed. I thawed it for 1 day in the refrigerator. And so I don't know, it's not completely thawed, so that kind of makes it easy to cut. One of the things I'm going to do is be real careful with raw chicken. I'm going to go pour out any liquid into the sink down the drain before I get this going. So just going to try to pad dry all of the liquid because I don't want the liquid running all over the place. You can see there's still a little bit of ice on here. I think this is going to make it easier to cut. So I think this is a bunch of small pieces that are they're sort of frozen together, and I don't care about that. I'm just going to cut these all into little small chunks. They're all going into enchiladas, so it doesn't really matter what the pieces look like as long as they're small enough for bite size. All right, so let's just cut all this chicken up and put it in the skillet here. And I think if we had some fast motion, might make things go a little bit faster. So ready, go. Okay, so normally I like to give Willie some of the scraps, but since this is raw chicken, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to dispose of that in the trash can, and then I'm going to clean up everything here and sanitize it all. So we need to do that right now. Okay, so I went ahead and I washed the cutting board and the knife really good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off the countertop really well where I had the raw chicken. Everywhere that I had raw chicken, I want to disinfect it because you don't want to get sick. And so I washed my hands with hot soapy water and cleaned the cutting board and the knife. So I think we're all done, but these things are a godsend. All right, so the next thing you're going to need, what I like to do is a full Pyrex. And then the neat thing about this is I have a cover that I can cover this, so you could slice yourself out some and then cover it up and put it back in the refrigerator and for the next meal. Really nice. So a few things we're going to use today. We're going to use some green enchilada sauce. I kind of like the red enchilada sauce when I'm doing like beef. Green usually for chicken, pork, I don't know, pork enchiladas, you can use either one. Then I'm going to throw in a can of these diced green chilies. Of course, we have tapatio, which is our favorite hot sauce of all time. Now, this is Mexican style cheese, so it's a blend. Normally what I would do is I would use Monterey Jack for enchiladas, but I don't have any right now, so I'm just going to use this, and I think it'll be just fine. Let's check on that chicken and see how it's doing. All right, so this is coming along pretty good. Just little pieces of diced chicken. And like I said, this is probably the most labor-intensive part of this whole recipe, just because, it takes a while. And if you had some chicken left over from something else, it would make things a lot easier and you could throw it together in no time. But unfortunately, on this recipe, we have to cook the chicken. One of the things I like to do with this is season it a little bit, kind of like seasoning your pasta water. I like to season the meat. And of course, I have put that shit on everything. I think this is great. And I know it's Monterey steak seasoning and this is chicken, but it actually tastes pretty good. So I like to cook this until it just gets a little bit of color in it. Then what I can do is I can transfer it to a bowl. And I'll show you how I can get rid of the fat pretty soon here. The thing I like to do is line a bowl with foil. So you can see right there. I line the bowl with foil. And then I can just pour the grease from the pan right into the foil. And then when it coagulates and all turns hard, I can just wrap it up and throw it in the trash can. This avoids pouring it down the drain, which can be a problem with some people's plumbing systems like ours. And we just put that right there. And then we're going to use this for the tortillas. All right, so we have our meat. I just like to give it a little bit of color. You don't even really have to completely cook it because it's going to go in the oven and bake anyway. And so from that, we can add our diced green chilies. And we can add some of this. We can also pour some of this in the pan that we're going to use. We'll spread that around a little bit. And then the other thing I like to do is put some cheese right in there in the filling. So it's cheese, the sauce, diced green chilies, and the chicken, all inside the tortillas. We can add a lot of this. A lot. So now we have our filling. We just need to get the tortillas starting to heat up, and we'll be ready for assembly. Okay, so I've just turned the pan on low here, and I'm going to just heat up the tortilla just to make it a little pliable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start assembling it, and I'll show you that in just a second. All right, so we've got this one heated up a little bit, so it's a bit pliable. And it's the first one out of the package, so it's a little weird. It's kind of broken, and I'm not sure if it's going to survive this procedure, but we will see. Then I just grab some, sort of put it in the shape. Yeah, this is kind of falling apart, but it'll be all right. And then just put it right in the corner there. And we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so I hope this next one folds a little easier. And some people use tongs or whatever, but I just use my hands. It's not that big a deal. Oh yeah, this is folding nicer. Much nicer. Oops. Lost some of our chicken. And we'll just continue on that like that until they're all done. Okay, so this seems to be sort of how they fit in these Pyrex. You get one course here and then you go 2 and 2. That's kind of how they fit here. Now I can pour this over, kind of give it a little bit of liquid, but I think I'm going to save some of this liquid for another project. We can take some Tapatio, give it a little bit of heat, and then I like to cover it with cheese. Just kind of a pretty thick, heavy layer of cheese. And then we'll add some seasoning. What do you think? What do you think seasoning we should add? I'm not sure. Maybe some pepper and maybe some red pepper. Get down in there. Yeah, I like to add a little bit of black pepper. I think it adds a good flavor to it. Some crushed red peppers. And let's see, chopped onions, always good. And something a little green. What is this? Italian seasoning. I know it's not Italian, but I think it looks good. Doesn't that look pretty? That looks great. So now we just have to wait for the oven to come up to temperature, and then we'll pop it in. We'll just put that over for now. And here, since we have so little fat, you can use this when you do ground beef as well. But since we have so little fat, oh, here's the oven. You can just do that. And looks like it leaked a little bit. That's a little bit of the problem with that, is that it tends to kind of leak a bit. But that's okay. It's better than putting it down the old sink. Okay, so our oven is up to temperature. Pop that in, I don't know, for about 20 to 30 minutes. I'll just keep an eye on it. Okay, so what we're looking for here is bubbling and browning. I think we got both, so I think we're ready to take it out. Ooh, that looks good. Can you hear the bubbling? That looks great. Okay, we're just gonna let that cool a little bit and then we'll try it in a few minutes. All right, so that's had a little bit of a chance to cool down a bit. I think what I'll do is I'll take a couple of these right here. So a spatula is really the best thing I've seen to serve this with. And you can kind of separate it from the sides. Ooh, that looks so good. Woo! That looks awesome. Okay, doesn't that look good? It looks so wonderful. And of course, we've got to put some Tapatio on there. Wouldn't be Mexican food without Tapatio. They had a taste test on America's Test Kitchen of hot sauces, and they didn't even, this was on the counter, but they didn't even talk about Tapatio, my very favorite. So anyway, all right, well, here goes. Let's try to get a little bit of chicken in there too. Look at that. Mmm, that's really good. I like the chicken. Chicken's very tender. The tortillas kind of got a little crispy on top. Mmm. Of course, the enchilada sauce is perfect. Mmm. Well, that's great. Mmm. Can't wait to eat the rest of that. Well, that just about does it here for Scott's Kitchen. We had a wonderful time making these chicken enchiladas for you. Hope you make them at home, and I'm sure they're going to come out great, and your family's going to enjoy them a lot. We'll see you next time on Scott's Kitchen. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.